the profile of the panelists. So what I've done, okay, so what I've done thus far is to, as much as I think, if I'm to read the complete profile of all our panelists, I was telling someone that we have a panelist that is full to the max. We have 6 panelists. So if I want to read out all the profile, that will be a lot of time. So what I've done is to make the profile reading very short for each panelist, right? So that we can we can have a lot of time to have a conversation with our panelists. Hope that's great. So let me see a reaction if that's also a good one to go with, so that we can save a lot of time to really get this insight from our panelists. So very quickly, I'll start out with our panelist by the name of St. Josephine Cardew, right? So I'll read that very quickly. So Josephine Cardew, he is a certified laboratory scientist with over decade of experience, that's over 10 years of experience across all phases of laboratory operations. She holds an MBA in Healthcare Administration from Johns Hopkins University Career Business School, combining scientific expertise with strategic leadership. Currently serving as a quality assurance laboratory coordinator, she is focused on strengthening quality systems and ensuring compliance and driving operational excellence in healthcare. Can we just applaud and celebrate our panelists? It's not easy. This just me trying to just make it very brief. We also have on the panel, we have this person of Stella Maris Ihu Ajoko. I got it. If I didn't get it correctly, that means you have to punish me after now. So I'll read our profile very quickly. Stella Maris is a healthcare operations strategist and leadership development consultant with over 10 years of experience in transforming healthcare systems. She specializes in optimizing workflows, strengthening governance, and improving service delivery across institutions. With an MBA in healthcare management and global certification in health system strengthening, she is passionate about building resilient healthcare system and developing high impact leaders across Africa. So we see the caliber of person we have on the panel. Let's celebrate each one of them. We also have Victor Ihanacho, not Ihanacho the footballer. We have Victor Ihanacho, the profound scientist. Victor Ihanacho is a co-enrolled registered medical scientist with extensive experience in multidisciplinary practice, diagnostics, and molecular science, and clinical laboratory management as well. He's currently practicing with Tipperary University Hospital, Ireland. He brings a strong blend of technical expertise and healthcare innovation across international settings. So let's applaud and celebrate our panelists. So we have 3 more panels. Like I said, the panel session is packed to full capacity. So we also have the person of Shamin. We also have the person of Shamin Shazeb. So Shamin Shazeb is a passionate medical professional with a strong background in microbiology and public health. Shamin brings both research insights and practical diagnostic experience. With professional experience in Pakistan and ongoing licensure pursuits in the UK and Canada, she is building a global career while also exploring innovation through e-commerce and inspiring others to embrace diverse career paths. All right, so we have a lot of panelists already. So we also have we have Idris Ikakome. So Idris Ikakome is a senior biomedical scientist at Oxford University Hospital NHS Foundation Trust, with over 10 years of global practice experience, an expert in clinical biochemistry and antenatal screening. He is recognized for his leadership in laboratory operations, quality assurance, and implementation of innovative diagnostic solutions. And our 6th panelist, but not least, is the person of Harriet Oshome. We have Harriet on the platform as well. Harriet is a medical laboratory scientist turned senior commercial executive blending scientific expertise with business strategy in the healthcare space. With experience across diagnostics, quality assurance, and brand marketing, she represents a new generation of professionals driving impact beyond the laboratory. She is the founder of Diary of the Niger Scientist and an MBA candidate using storytelling digital platforms to empower healthcare professionals to build visibility, navigate career growth, and unlock opportunities. So let's, with a round of applause, with a virtual round of applause, welcome our panelists because they are going to be sharing with us their personal journey. And I also love to start with our panelists in the US. That's Josephine Caldu. Josephine Caldu, do confirm you can hear me, please.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's great to have you. Please let's celebrate our first panelist that will be speaking with us, sharing with us our personal journey and experience. Do we have our writing material and heart and mind also ready to receive from her? So my first question will be, do you confirm you can still hear me, Josephine?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome, awesome. So we're starting real quickly with you.
Okay.
So could you tell us, who is on cardio, Josephine?
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be invited to this platform. So my name is Kadu Josephine. Uh, my friends they call me Jojo Josie Ines is my middle name. I'm from Cameroon originally. I read medical lab sciences from the Catholic University of Central Africa. Then I moved to America. Can I just start? Like, can I just go on?
Yes, please.
Okay, because
Okay, you can proceed, please.
okay. So I moved to the US in 2011 with a lab science degree without knowing what I was supposed to do. Because when you come with that degree in America, you have to do a transfer of certificate. Like you have to go through a verification of your certificate through an agency. So I did that. While I was doing that, I had to go back to school for phlebotomy because here in America, everything they've divided all the steps. People that draw blood is different from the people that analyze and all the leadership positions is all different. But why in Africa, as a lab tech, you draw blood, you start from the beginning to the end. So I had to go back to school to PG college. I did phlebotomy for like 5 months. Then I got a job because I was trying to integrate into the system. I didn't want to become a nurse. I didn't want to do anything concerning nursing. I just wanted to stick with the degree I already had from my country. So I launched into phlebotomy. I got a job at the PG Hospital Center. That was like 2012. I worked there for about a year, went to Kaiser Permanente, sat for my board exam while I was working as a medical lab assistant, and sat for my clinical lab science as a certified exam, and I made it. So from there, I got a job. I got a promotion within Kaiser as a float cytometry technician, technologist, not technician, please. So I started working. That was 2017. Yeah, 2017, 2018. I went back to school. I went back to school to Johns Hopkins. I'd already really started because, yeah, you just do things. You just do things like you juggle things together. You're going to school, you're working, you're just looking for a pathway to make it because I've written down my goals. I wanted to be into the leadership position one day. So I've written down my goals. So I was like, okay, what should I do to get to that position? So MBA came to my mind, and John Hopkins was offering this program, MBA in healthcare management. So I was accepted into the program 2015. I did part-time. So I was in school for almost 6 years while working. So 2021 I graduated, then kept pushing for promotion, never had promotion. So recently I got a lab quality assurance um, position with Meritus Health. It's another hospital. So I had to move over there. So that's where I am right now. as a lab quality personnel.
Oh, that's awesome, awesome journey. So, were there any peculiar challenge you would love to share with us? Having to say that you had to move from your country to the US, and then have to play the part of trying to adapt to the system, seeing that where you were coming from, the certification had to be adaptable, right? To what
Yeah.
they have attainable in the US. Could you share that with us, please?
Um, it was very challenging when I came because the people I was living with, they were all teachers. My auntie was a teacher. There's something in the US where the person that welcomes you, they don't usually know everything concerning any other field. So sometimes they're really focused on what they know and what they are doing. So if they don't know something, they'll just refer you to somebody that probably is not even um that's not even like welcoming to tell you anything because they are so busy. Everybody is busy. So what I did, I had to be proactive. Then they were still using desktop. I had to Google everything, Google. I had to Google everything, Google the school, Google everything everything I could do because I knew I did not want to change my profession. I already had a degree. There's no way I'm going to go start back from the bottom, year one, year two, no, no way. So I was like, to evaluate your certificate with WES. The WES is where it's how they call it. How hold on. WES is sorry, let me look for the meaning of WES. WES are something evaluation services. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an agency. They are the one that evaluates most of the certification.
Western Education Services.
Yes, yeah, that's why I evaluated my certificate from Cameroon, and thank God it was equivalent because I'd done 3 years for MedLab program with the Ministry of Health. They have special schools for that. Then 1 year in the Catholic University where I obtained my degree. They're making it 4 years. So once they evaluated that, I was good to go. So it was
Wow,
really
that's awesome.
challenging, yeah. But once you evaluate your certification, then you start preparing for your board exam. Once you pass your board exam, you're good. There are so many hospitals that are open to hire you. Yeah, there are some people were like, you don't have experience in America, you don't have experience in America. We have to stick, like, keep looking, keep looking. There are other small laboratories that want to work with people and they pay them some small amount of money. That way you just have to get anything you have to get just to get that experience and launch into the whole system.
Wow,
So those
that's
are the
awesome.
challenges. Yeah, it was challenging, but I had to find my way without relying too much on people because people are busy. They can give you the information, but you have to deal with the information. You don't wait for anybody to take your hand and say, I'm taking
Hmm.
you to any office to show you this and that. No.
Wow, that's actually an amazing journey for you've had an experience as well. So you did mention that currently you got permission working as a quality person. Could you share with us at what point did you realize that your career path you had to evolve in your career path so that those that are currently in a particular phase in their current journey as professionals, so should I know at what point did you was it part of your plan? Though you did mention at the time you were sharing with us, was it part of your plan before you moved to the US, or you just all of a sudden done, okay, I just have to evolve, I just have to look for aim for something higher? Please share that part with us, please.
Why in Cameroon, since I had no, like, you don't even have any vision of traveling, you're just in that box. You don't know the career path that you're going to change into. But once that opportunity came for me to come to America, I saw that there was a lot of openings. You can come to America with any degree and change into something else. Seeing doctors came here with their degree and before you know, they are in the IT field. So there was a lot of opportunity, but I had made that decision to stay within the lab. Like you see me posting, I love the lab. It's practical. The results are there. When you fail, you can still catch up. Like it will tell you this thing is not working, and you make sure you get your results right. You know. So I really love the lab for that because everything in the lab is practical. It's really practical. Um, to answer that question, Yeah, I would say when I got here, I knew I don't want to stay within the level of either phlebotomist, because at one point I felt like my brain is not working. I felt like my brain was not working. Even when I moved to a medical lab assistant position, at one point it's just receiving blood. You check for all the errors, all the label errors and all that, then you're passing it on to the analysis level and all that stuff. So I felt like my brain was not working. Like, what am I really doing? I need to move up the ladder.
Mm.
There's no way I'm going to just be receiving samples, logging them in, probably call for critical results and all that. No, I'm bigger than that. So I was like, okay, it's time for me to go back to school. Once I got that promotion, I felt better, because at this point I was a medical lab scientist. So I was in the flow lab. Even when you're in school, they don't just send people there for any internship. If you've been in the medical field, they don't just send any person for internship in the flow cytometry lab. You do the core lab, you do the other things, but flow is a special lab. So I had the opportunity to be trained in flow for like 6 months, where they do all the LL evals, like the cancer testing.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot. So I worked for the lab for like 4 years. Then they switched us back. I went to client service. I was still a medical lab tech, but then you just communicate more with doctors. You do add-on tests. I did that for 2 years. Then went back again into the lab as a generalist, do molecular. I was still in flow. They use me everywhere now. They use me virtually everywhere before I got this job. Recently, I just got the quality management job recently, like just 6 weeks ago. I started just 6 weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. That's been quite an experience and a journey. That's for me, it's an intentional path you decided
Yeah.
to take on, and that has paid off, right? And I know also that you also have plans to attain greater heights as well. Thank you for sharing that with all of you. Right. We'll still come back to you. Let's get to our next panelist.
Okay.
So we have in the panel a senior biomedical scientist in the person of Idris. Could we have Idris? Could you just confirm you can hear me, scientist Idris, please? Just confirm you can hear me. Okay, so I'm waiting for feedback.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
Awesome. It's great to have you on the call.
Thank you so much.
Could you tell us how you welcome to this part of my chief? Could you introduce yourself to us so we get to meet yourself?
All right. Good evening, everyone. Before I introduce myself, let me appreciate everyone who has made this feasible. Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you for looking beyond yourself, and the need to impact the younger ones. And thank you so much, Odera. I don't know if your name is actually Odera or Michael, but I'll go with Odera. Thank you for co-founding with him. And thank you, everyone, for being present here today, because we wouldn't have a speakers if there are no audience. So thank you, everyone, for being present. So my name is Idris Ikekwame, and I'm presently a senior biomedical scientist with Oxford University NHS Foundation Trust with the Department of Clinical Biochemistry. And I'm in charge of fetal abnormality screening program. So where we do things like check for Down syndrome, Edwards syndrome, Patau syndrome, preeclampsia for mothers that are pregnant. And so that's literally a summary of what my role entails. I've got a colleague that does the neonatal part. So in my professional journey, it's good to take us back home. I graduated from University of Benin in 2015. And I started my internship, what we call like an internship program, with Chevron Hospital in Lagos. And so after my internship program, I got a private hospital. So I finished my internship, I think that was between 2016 to 2017, I had finished my internship program. And thereafter, after the internship program, got like the following month, I got a job with a private hospital where I was managing the lab, which I did continuously literally continuously till I left Nigeria. But while I was doing that, I also got called back during COVID to Chevron Hospital, where I took up the role to screen for those staff that needed to go, go and come offshore and onshore staff for COVID. And thereafter, just in 2021, so even before then, I tried to migrate out of the country in 2019 through school. I had like 4 masters in UK admissions and 1 in Germany. And because UK had a law then that you needed to, when you're done with your masters, you have 6 months, you have to come back. And so I felt, no, I didn't want to pursue the UK one. I needed to go to Germany. And along the line, that period, I lost my dad. And that really broke me. It was a change of plan. I needed to focus on life again. I needed to, push and all of that. So I just kept on working. And in 2021, September, I left for the UK with my wife. And so when we came into the UK, I was pursuing my license, my HCPC license then. So I really didn't have the license as at when I came into the UK. And so I had to pick up many a job. I literally was working in a warehouse, And so I did that for 3 months. But while I got to the UK, while I was doing all of that, I'd already created an Indeed account, which was very, very helpful. So the moment I created an Indeed account, I got recruiters reaching out to me and saying, oh, do you have your license yet? Are you ready to work? And so I told them, I don't have my license yet, but I'm already in the process of getting my license. And so they were like, okay, the moment you get your license, just let us know. And so in December, I got my license and I told them, I just reached out back to those recruiters and told them, I've gotten my license. And that was how my journey started. And so the recruiters, more like an agency, they said, oh, we have something related to what you just finished in Nigeria, which was COVID screening in a molecular department in Ipswich. So that was like East Suffolk and not SSNHS Foundation Trust. So when I got into the UK, my base settlement was in Oxford. And so that's where it gets a little tricky. And so while I was waiting for Oxford to come, Oxford wasn't advertising. So I quickly had to just say, oh, where Ipswich you're taking me to is about 3 hours away from Oxford on train. So it's pretty far. So that means I have to be separated from my wife. I really didn't have to see like family and all of that. But when what you truly desire is not yet at hand, you just have to go with whatever is available at the moment, especially in a system like the UK where they are so much experience based. They want to ask for what's your UK experience. So I just took up the molecular job with SNEFT and I started, worked with them for about 8 months or say 7 months thereabout. And I was always thereafter like coming home once in a while. So while I was doing that, I was also applying for other jobs. And so that week, while I was in molecular, but even though my specialty was chemistry, I just had to start with molecular. And thereafter, I got a job with WICAS, which is the Waste External Quality Assessment Scheme. And so what they do is they prepare EQA samples, just the way you have UK and EQUAS too. Prepare EQA samples, sent across to various laboratories, they analyze the samples, return back, we analyze the reports and send their reports to know how their performance actually is within their method group. And so the period I got WICAS, I literally got Oxford as a band 5, but I got WICAS as a band 6. So, and being someone who understands the essentiality of multiverse discipline, and which is something that would help anyone, so I went to WICAS, took the WICAS job, then I got Oxford. So then I was contemplating, should I leave a 6 and come back to a 5? But my family was based in Oxford. So at a certain point, after 3 months, I left WICAS and came back to start from a band 6 down to a band 5 in Oxford. I really didn't mind that much because the disadvantage with WICAS was that my growth was kind of limited, even though the pay was great. And so I just had to leave it and focus majorly on my growth. So I came to Oxford, started as a band 5, biomedical scientist, and Thereafter, after 6 months, there was an opportunity for a band 6. I did apply for the band 6, even though I knew I wasn't the person that was going to get it. But one thing I did was that I went into that interview, proved myself, and I was lucky enough that I superseded every other contestant in that interview, that my manager had to write to HR and was like, we need this boy on a 6. And so that was how I stepped into a 6. And after that, I continued as a 6 for like 2 years plus now. And so within that period again, I'd gone in for like 2 band 7 interviews, 2 senior BMS interviews. I didn't get those ones. And so on this third one, I got it. So I just moved in, started as a senior with the section that I am now. And so I think that's literally my my history, my professional history. So that's where I am today at the moment.
Wow. That's quite a lot packed in a few minutes here. That's quite a lot. I think the part that got me when you mentioned that when you lost your dad, and that adds to more like it became a detour. So could you share with us what was playing through your mind? Because for some of us on the call might have someone that might have lost someone that they actually was there to them or is there to them, and that's in some way they might be asking the question, so how do I now proceed with my career, or so how do I now go through this part? What was it like for you? Would you mind to share with us how did you navigate that part?
Yeah, so I think I and my dad are very, very close. So it was a hard one. So that's why I had to more like suspend the dream at the moment. But even though I had to go low, I didn't lose focus of where I'm going. So sometimes grieving is allowed. You might just have to retract a little to grieve and mourn the one you need to mourn. But one thing you must come to understand, that there are certain things you cannot change. Death is inevitable. It has happened. So why get tied down and deny yourself of the opportunities that are ahead of you? So what I had to do was to pick up myself, re-strategize, and I knew for sure that I was leaving, but the timing I just felt wasn't that time. Because those of us from Africa, where you have first son, you have the first son responsibility, and my younger ones were still in school. So sometimes you have to just go out there, sacrifice for them, right? And so that's literally what happened. So I think the idea is keep your eyes on the goal, even if you have to retract, even if you have to mourn, even if you have to grieve, but let your focus still be on the goal. So that's it.
That's amazing. Let your focus still be on the goal. The plans could change, but then just keep at the vision on the goal. Amazing. Yeah. So I want to ask you, what are the 3 mistakes you've seen young professionals make that you would want them to have a rethink or to course correct? Now, for some young professionals, some might have made a lot of mistakes, especially for those that would want to go out of the country to maybe further their profession and all that. Or maybe whilst you could just pick a couple of things, maybe whilst you're in Nigeria. What are those mistakes you see young professionals make that you would want those on this corner to course correct from, or to avoid as pitfalls that could either delay you or dampen your progress as a professional?
I think one of the first would be that we must all come to the point where clarity is essential. You must know what you truly want. We're in a stage now where everyone is going into AI, everyone's going to data analysis, everyone is going to several things, and that even puts you in confusion as to what do I really want with my life. You have friends going into such diverse areas, but you must come to the point where you ask yourself, what is truly my path? I always tell friends that I can't jealous someone because our paths are different. Just identify first, have clarity on where your direction is. Ask yourself, what are my strengths? Because people just jump in, they are doing a certification on this, you're doing a certification on this. I was listening to what Andrew was saying yesterday. Have a niche. you have to be known for something. Interestingly, you might want to go into as much of all of that initially just to actually see where your strength is. Or they say data analysis going to data, or they say sales going to sales, they say, oh, going to quality, going to, then thereafter you would need to come to the point where you say, this is what I want. This is where I think I have strength. This is where I think would be good for me, not necessarily what every other person is going through, are going into. Then I think another thing is the idea of visibility. We spoke largely about visibility. A lot of us, me personally, I used to be a very shy person. Let me be vulnerable to you. So you would even see that sometimes you send me most of those stuffs. I don't even have strength to repost and all of that. I'm a shy person. I love my life low key. I don't want to get too involved and all of that. But we must come to understand that visibility is essential. It's a currency. It's the currency in this present generation. Visibility in terms of social media, visibility in terms of your workplace. A lot of us are very brilliant and a lot of us are very intelligent. But when it comes to speaking, when it comes to bringing out those ideas, even in your workplace, you keep mute, You must, I remember one of my mamas in Chevron, that she told me, Idris, sell yourself, put yourself out there. I know some of us really just like that shy and calm nature, but we must go back to the point where we have to sell ourselves and bring that visibility. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nike will say, just do it. You don't have to wait for that perfect timing. You don't have to wait for, I think all that you need is enough. In this present stage, if you have a phone is enough for you to create that visibility. Joint platform, I was talking about how Indeed helped me get that job, even when I didn't even have a license to practice yet. I just had to create a profile there, posted what I've been into, posted my experiences and all of that. So another thing we have to look into is the idea of running away from being visible is not going to help us as professionals. We must be visible. Another thing with our profession, I think, is mentorship and networking is another mistake a lot of us do not optimize. Networking, mentorship. If I need to go from point A to Z and I have Sammy who has an idea to get from point A to W, if I work with Sammy, it makes I don't need to think too much in going that path he has gone. And so that is what mentorship helps each and every one of us. Meet mentors, go for conferences. Ernest, your mic is on. Okay,
it's muted now.
So go for conferences, meet people, send DMs, send code mails. There are opportunities out there, but you have to be intentional about building a network. You see people say that your network is your net worth. The amount of people if you want to grow up the ladder, even though competence brings you into the door, at certain point you realize that things like relationship will be necessary for your acceleration, right? So competence may bring you in, but the strength of your character, your relationship, your association become defining criteria that will ensure your navigation. So I think we should network, we should create time for visibility, and we should define our paths. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. It feels to me like I should just continue this conversation for the whole day, because there's a whole lot here sharing, and I'm happy to even be part of this. So I would want to ask this question. This question might take his memory lane way back. It was a privilege for me. I actually met you whilst in school, like also. So for those that don't know, Idris, senior biomedical scientist Idris, happens to be my very senior colleague, right? Was he graduated as the best? Correct me if I'm wrong. He graduated as the best student way back then. I think I still have the picture back then. We have a lot of students also on this call. Right. What were the things? I want to speak to mindset shifts. So it applies to professionals as well as students. What are the mindset shifts that everyone on this call have to go out with that would propel them as students, as well for those that are professionals, and also to help professionals to navigate the path. But knowing fully well that sometimes the highs and lows that happens with life, and also the loss that you have to deal with when it comes to your responsibility as a person, responsibility to self, and also responsibility to others. So what's the mindset shift that carried you through as an undergraduate that you graduated as the best student at the time during your sets, and also that is still carrying you through even as a professional practicing in a different terrain, and now a senior biomedical scientist where you currently are?
Okay. Quickly, I'm just gonna say, firstly, I'm a Christian. I'm a believer, and I believe in grace. But there's a word Apostle Paul says. He says, "I am what I am today by the grace of God." He said, "But the grace bestowed upon me might not be in vain." He said, "I labor more than them all." He said, "Yet not I." But if you see that it's the grace that is laboring in me. So what that means is that one of my philosophies, as much as I believe God, I would always say that any grace that must work must be put to work, right? I believe God so much, but I do my work. If you were close to me, then you see me studying like my life depended on it. So
True.
it's about combining grace. It's about combining work. As students, you can't just take out the need to study. You can't just take out the need to study. You have to create time. You have to get materials. I can remember then during holidays, I get the material for the next semester from my senior colleagues who have gone or who are ahead of me, and I study the materials before my colleagues resume. So I'm already way ahead of them, right? So during that holiday, while people are coming back from school on trying to do their first reading, I'm already doing my second reading, right? So that makes us that was one of my propelling factor. It was pretty easy for me, but I had to use all of those time, to really engage myself and get to being the best graduating student in the faculty then.
Well, thank you so much. I know I at the time I did at the time do I think for some of my colleagues were here, some of my classmates was in school was on this call, and we saw you as a model, right? So we started studying like our life depended on it as well. Amazing. Thank you so much for being a model to us all at that time, and still you are, because you've not let the fire out. But there was one key part that you did mention, which I would also want to speak to, the part of mentorship. All right. I remember during my time, I know I have honestly colleagues who's also was my coach at that time. There's this gap when it comes to mentorship. What could you say about that? And that's one of the key reasons why we have.
Few seconds. Hi,
Okay.
Freya. Please, when you're ready to go.
So before he comes back, the next panelist that we're speaking to us will be Stella Maris.
Okay.
Please just
Is there any
ready on the call so that we'll get to it, because there's a whole lot that is coming. And I suppose that for those of us that are all here, how are we excited getting a lot of insights already, because there's has been a lot that Idris has shared thus far. There's been a lot of insight from his journey that he has shared. And I wouldn't want any of us to take these moments for granted. Let's maximize it. Let's maximize.
Sorry, guys. I'm actually at work, but I just needed to speak with my colleague because she's leaving. So sorry.
Okay, welcome back. So I was asking with respect to you, but I know you did mention mentorship, right? I know during my time we had to pursue mentors, right? Because we understood the importance and the role it plays. So what could you say about, and that's one of the key things that TSJHUB is here to solve, that mentorship gap. What can you say with respect to that? How can those on this call leverage on mentorship or mentor and mentee relationship to navigate the path and make it less more a hurdle for them? Maybe just in 1 minute.
So in terms of assessing mentorship, is that what you mean? Or assessing
yes.
mentors?
Yes.
So just like I stated, the essentiality of mentorship, Isaac Newton would say, if I've seen further than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants. It's important that we assess mentors. We can meet mentors. So say professional mentors. A very good example is this platform, which Sami and Dara have organized. You have access to about, I think literally speakers altogether should be more than 10. This gives you, one of the things he's creating at the moment is a mentor-mentee relationship. You can have access even from a conference like this. Oh, please, at the end of this program, I don't mind having your email. I don't mind having your number. I don't mind, So with conferences like this, you're able to first build mentorship, right? Take LinkedIn, for example. You got people, you get, like, you screw through and you see quite a lot of people and various experiences that are tailored to where you are going. So that are tailored to what you actually want to achieve. You can send a DM. I've had several persons just send a DM and said, oh, this is what I want to do. Can you assist me? Can you guide me? Can you be a mentor? It's when I came into this country, I realized that assessing people, assessing those top persons are not really as difficult as we kind of think they are. You can actually write a lab manager and just say, I like what you do. I've been following your work. Can I be a mentee? Is there a provision for me to be a mentee? Right? So it's very possible. I've had a friend who has used just a LinkedIn DM to gain access to having, so he was literally applying for several jobs and he was having this rejection after his master's degree because they said, oh, you lack the UK experience and all of that. So I told him, contact lab managers around your vicinity, which you are living. Tell them you want to come for a laboratory tour, right? He went, he had laboratory tours in 1 or 2 labs. From there, he had access to speaking with the managers and like, oh, I'm a biomedical scientist who just graduated. I've got my license and all of that. With that, he was able to get access, right? And thereafter, he could even put those laboratory tours into his support information. And with that, now he's got a job. He's even got a 6 now. So when it comes to mentorship, let's not look at it like one very constraining thing. Walk up to people, appreciate them, honor their work, honor what they're doing, and ask them if there are rooms for mentorship. It's very, very possible. And if they have the provision for it, they can grant you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Idris, for sharing that with us. That has been so packed and insightful. Not just the insight, but insightful in the whole essence of it. And we'll love to still have you on the call because I know a lot of persons might have a couple of questions. And if you have questions, you could be dropping them in the chat box. We still have our panelists with us. We still have Idris with us. Though he's at work, but then he has decided to invest this time to pour into each and every one person on the call. So appreciative of your time and also the willingness to give out from your journey and experience and be vulnerable to share. It's one thing, and it's that for me. That's for me. It's remarkable. Thank you so very much. I will say get back to when we have questions that you need you to speak to. So at this point, we have to move to our third panelist. Thank you so much. Great to have you. We have to move to our third panelist in the person of Stella Maris. Stella Maris, are you on the call? Could you confirm you can hear me, please?
Hi, Chika. I can hear you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening from here, everyone.
Good evening, Stella Maris. Great to have you with us. Thank you for joining us on the call. It's great to have you. So could we know about it? Who is Stella Maris? Can you tell us, share with us? Let's hear you, please. Thank you so much. Great to have you.
All right. Good evening once again. So I want to actually start by thanking you, Chika, for this opportunity. Thank you for trusting me with your platform, and of course, your co-founder, Odera. Thank you for this very powerful platform that you've created, and I trust that will surely be a blessing to so many professionals out there. So I would like to make it as short as possible. Stella Maris is a microbiologist turned healthcare management consultant. I function more as a healthcare operation and HR personnel. So as I said, I started as a microbiologist. However, I was able to like tie together my experiences, my natural abilities, and I had to like say, okay, I'm going to make this switch at this point in my life. And it's been a very incredible journey, being able to support medical professionals as well as healthcare investors to grow healthcare businesses here in Nigeria and to serve the community that are relying on us to give them the quality care that they deserve. So that's pretty much about me for now. As we make progress, I'll be able to share more. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that beautiful intro with us. Thank you so much. Your role as an operation person in the healthcare plays a vital part in the whole essence or scheme of things in the field of health professional as it were, healthcare as it were. So how did you get to navigate to from point A to where you currently are? How was the journey for you? How did you get to navigate that part?
Okay, yeah, so thank you very much for that question. I'm always very excited to share about my journey. So, as I mentioned earlier, I started out as a microbiologist. So, when I went for the compulsory IT, my 300 level, I worked in a hospital, and from the day-to-day tasks or day-to-day responsibility I was given, I knew at that point that I wasn't going to be working as a microbiologist. I really loved the profession, but I had to like work inside with my own abilities and things that I find very passionate about. So I had to like move. So when I graduated as a microbiologist, since it's not a professional course in quotes, if you're a doctor, you know that you're working as a doctor. A medical lab scientist, you know that you're going straight to become a lab scientist. But as a microbiologist, I wasn't really very clear as to what I'm supposed to do. But I can remember a friend, when I graduated, a friend usually send me job posting, you send me this company, you send me from different industries. So one day he actually met up with me and like, Stella, I know you don't apply for those jobs I sent to you. I know you very well. I know you don't apply for those jobs. So what kind of jobs do you want me to send to you so that I don't waste my time? And at that point, it was like an eureka moment for me because he asked me, okay, what kind of job should I send to you? And what kind of job do you want to do? So out of the blues, I was like, okay, so I'm someone who enjoys administration. I have like an incredible ability to organize things. When someone casts a vision, I'm able to like cascade it down to different kind of set goals, execute the plan. I say, okay, I'm very good with administration. And I also have a background in healthcare. Yeah, so I think I would just like a healthcare job or an admin job in the healthcare industry. That was just how I came about that. Like I don't think there's any other way. That's how I came about the healthcare and admin, and I collided it together. So a few weeks down the line, I went for a party and someone told me, oh, there's an admin role in a healthcare in where I work. I said, okay, where do you work? She said hospital. And immediately I said, I'm coming for an interview in your place of work. I would love to submit my application. And the rest they say is actually history. So I would like to really align myself with what the last panelist said, Mr. Idris. For my journey, I think it was more of clarity because Mr. Idris mentioned something about clarity. I strongly believe that once we're able to like articulate what exactly it is that we want through the help of God and through some level of reflection and meditation, once we're able to get to that point that this is what I really want, I think by divine providence or the universe just finds a way to like collide opportunities and bring it your way. So I think that progress we're talking about in our career most times starts with clarity. Yeah, so that's been my journey so far. I understand when I started as a care administrator, I started making research. Oh, what's this field about? Are there people who have done well in this field? I made a little research about big shots in the industry, both here in Nigeria, in the US, in different countries. I was like, okay, what did they do? How did they get here? And at some point, I when I decided that this career is going to be for the long term, I had to say, okay, what's even the prospect for this? I don't want to go into this career blindly. What's really the prospect there? And the prospect was really, really very encouraging and enticing. So I gave it my best. I've been giving it my best so far.
Wow,
Thank
awesome.
you.
That's great. Seeing that you're coming from a microbiology part now into healthcare, I'll say healthcare consulting. That's awesome and amazing as well. So, were there key challenges that you did experience, and how were you able to navigate those hurdles and challenges? Because definitely going to the healthcare sector, it's one of those sectors that the error limit is basically moved to close to a zero. And having to go into a space such as that, were there things you had to go through? What did you do? Were there challenge that you had to overcome to move from that phase of skill and get necessary certification into the space where you are at this point?
Yes, of course, there were actually a lot of challenges. So when I started out, um, healthcare administration, I'm not sure there was anything. I'm not sure I knew anyone who was practicing it, but I realized that, oh, if I want to do this for the long term, I don't just want to be the admin person who just move paper files from here to there, right? I started my healthcare administration journey from the rock bottom. In fact, I think when I started, the first day I resumed my job, I'm not even sure I had an office. So I started from the rock bottom, and challenges I had were identifying mentors who have gone ahead, people who I were excelling on that path. So I had to do the work. I think Mr. just also mentioned them doing the work by myself. I think the first speaker mentioned you do the work, right? You make your research. People are busy with their lives. You should be able to like, oh, this is what I really want. I need to go for it. So finding mentors or yeah mentors who could mentor me from a distance, the kind of work they've done, and that was one challenge I experienced. Then this thing where you've not really seen something happen before, so once in a while you say, is this part worth it? Am I really sure I'm supposed to do this? I'm not really sure I'm supposed to do that. So that's moving in and out. So that was another challenge I had. And of course, knowledge base, right? I started out as a microbiologist. So moving into healthcare administration, healthcare management, there needed to be some closing of some gaps, some skill gaps, some knowledge gaps. So I had to take certifications, ensure that I'm up to speed with all the skills and the competencies I needed to function at a very high level. So the knowledge gap, finding mentors, and having to deal with uncertainties. Those are the challenges I think I could highlight from now.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. That's an awesome share. I want to ask this one more question. Now, seeing that you moved from supposedly a place where, in quotes, it said that, oh, it's not a professional coach. I know some persons are also here in the audience that might be in that space. Now, what would be your advice to them? What mental shifts would you want them to live with to properly position themselves? Because I know from experience that positioning actually starts from the mental shifts. So, what mental shift would you want them to embody, right, to see themselves not as being in a place of disadvantage, but in having an advantage, right, from their view, and also able to navigate their path? So how would you want them to position themselves, having listened to your journey and experience as well?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. So the thing is, at when we start our career, at the start of our career, we tend to, oh, let me just get a job that I need to cater for my well-being and all. But if we really want to be people who do well in life, not just having a job, we need to move from the place of just having a job to building a career, right? And that's where that mindset shift always happen. What do I really want for myself? Like, what do I really want to achieve, right? Aside trying to survive, aside just trying to coast through life, what exactly do I really want to achieve, and what am I drawn to, right? So I've seen very successful microbiologists, right? People who from school they moved over to maybe industrial microbiology. environmental microbiology, it's diverse, right? And if it's something that you are endeared to, fantastic. You can go all out, find the mentors that you need, carve a path for yourself and grow in the direction, right? But personally, I've always been someone who is business oriented, right? I may not set up a business, right? But I just love the concept of offering service, um building something that can serve a community, right? That's has always been what I'm drawn towards, right? I from even when I was in university, I'm sure I had like 4 or 5 businesses at different points, right? And I also had people who had businesses that were struggling. I was like, "Okay, why not try this? Why not try that? Why not try this?" So I knew that this was the kind of personality that I had, right? And there were some things I did in school that helped me to discover myself. So I had like a high level of self-awareness, very on time. I got my self-awareness very early in life, right? So I knew things that I was drawn to. I knew that I was great at administration, planning, organizing, right? So, and I know that, I mean, we are going to be doing our career for a very long time, right? And I really wanted to do something that I'm happy about, something that I enjoy, something that I can wake up and I find so much love in, right? So I moved that energy into healthcare administration. So self-awareness is always the first place to start, right? It's always the first place to start. It's a long journey, but it's very good to still start, right? And approach whatever you are doing from a place of purpose, because at the end of the day, we need to actually be happy with what we do, right? We really need to be happy with what we do. So that's what I will encourage. And once you've identified that path that you want to go, you go all out, right? Go all out. I'm always analyzing my skill gap. I'm trying to say, okay, to move to the next level in my career, what are the skills that I need, right? And immediately I identify those skills, I'm going for them. Is either I'm training myself through maybe through courses, YouTube, asking mentors. Either I do that or I go for a professional course, right? Although I'm taking a pause on professional courses for now. You understand? So once you've gotten the level of self-awareness you need, you go all out, identify the skill gap, find mentors, and you just move out from there. And thank you. And also I also align with also what Mr. Idris mentioned about visibility. Visibility is very important, right? As long as you are not faking it, you are not being overly assertive, put yourself out there. The world is actually very global. There are a lot of opportunities I've been able to get because I mean I'm sharing my experiences on LinkedIn. I see some hospitals reach out to me. Oh, we love you to do this for us, do that for us. And that's the visibility we are talking about. So what we have ahead of us is still very big. So wherever, regardless of the profession you are in, regardless of whatever you study in school, these recommendations, I'm hopeful that they'll be very beneficial to everyone who have listened. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maris, for sharing that. That's a packed word you shared in just a brief minute. You mentioned self-awareness, which is very important. Self-awareness, as for everyone on the call, self-awareness is very important. You've mentioned having to do analysis of your skill gaps. These are key things, and I hope that everyone is taking note of it because this section is actually packed, and I'm very appreciative of your time for showing up on this call. We still get to come back for everyone that have questions that you have to attend to. This will also love to be on the call because I also have one key question I would love to ask. All right, but then we'll have to move to the next panelist. So thank you so very much for having us. You're actually having us, right? Having us in your space to also share your journey and your experience with us. Thank you so much. We're indeed grateful on behalf of TSJHUB. So our next panelist that will be sharing with us, we still have a panelist on the call with us. So for everyone that have question that is burning in your heart, this burning question, this you can drop it in the comment section. Our general moderator and the president of Ifunaya Chukwu and also Mary Cynthia will take those questions, then we'll address them, have them addressed. So our next panelist that we have on the call will be Harriet. Harriet, do confirm you can hear me and you're on the call.
Hi, I can hear you. Good evening, everyone. Good
evening, Harriet. Great to have you.
Can you hear me? Confirm
yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
All right, great to have you on this webinar and panelist session.
It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, could you share with us who Harriet is so we can get to know you and learn from your journey?
Okay, hello everyone. I'm happy to play Abia High.
Okay, I think the network is breaking up a bit.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you,
me?
but your network seems to be fluctuating a little bit.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Do I
Okay,
get your
so
next panelist to fix the network?
okay, no, but you can hear me.
Yes. So it's so from my end, can anyone else confirm that the it's clear from your
Her
end?
network is very bad. Her
It's
network is very bad. So
it's
All right.
cutting
So
in and out.
Okay,
Yes.
let me swap. Let me swap network.
Okay, that's all. I'll just get right back to you. So let's get to our next panelist, Shamim Shazer. Shamim, I've been practicing to pronounce your name correctly.
Hello,
I don't know
everyone.
how good I've done with the pronunciation there. Hello, Shamim Shazer.
Hey, you can call me Shamin.
Okay, Shamim. How about the
Yeah,
Shazer part? Did I get it correctly or I didn't do well?
yeah. You spelled correctly.
Oh, thank you so much. So Shamim, great to have you on the panel. Yeah, so it's been an amazing one so far. So we want to meet Shaman. Who is Shaman? Could you share with us?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I am Shamin Shazeb, and thank you so much. I'm honored to be part of this webinar. And let's start. I have completed my Doctor of Medical Laboratory Sciences from Pakistan. It's a 5-year degree program with 1 year of, it's 1 year is practical clinical experience you get in the research institute. So as a part of the syllabus. So after graduation, I worked in laboratory setting in Pakistan, and where I developed hands-on skill in testing and patient-focused work. And then after 1 year, I moved to the UK and Canada. So after moving to Canada and UK, I started researching about the license requirements in these countries. So because half of my family is in Canada and half in UK, so it was very difficult for me to choose. So I was just navigating through both of these to find to I just thought, why not just get license in both the countries and practice globally? And it was first, it was so disappointed because the licensing pathways are so long and you don't know much about that. But then I just got I just found professionals of my field of Canada and UK on LinkedIn. I connected with them. I learned from them. I just thought, let's see what are they, what how they got there. So I started following them. I connected with them, and I then just got started. And with that, I'm also just filling the gaps, and I am working on myself, on my skills as a medical laboratory scientist, through short courses, certifications, and most importantly, I'm also running my e-commerce business in the UK as well. So yeah, this is Shamin.
Oh, that's amazing. So Gordon, I'm seeing that your hand is raised, so I don't know if it's for a question or something else. So thank you so much for sharing that. I was going to ask what's the role that certification has played and all the courses you've taken, what role it has played in positioning you. Because moving from your region, you had an extensive practice time in Pakistan, right? How you were able to move from that point to considering UK and Canada. Were there other short courses you were taking that helped position you or reposition you into the new climb that you were moving to, so that you've moved to? Yeah, Miss Stotler was asking, what e-commerce do you do? I think you also share that with us when you come on. Okay, you have the mic now then.
Yeah. So I am running this e-commerce business where I on different platforms, Amazon, eBay, and I sell my products. It's home and kitchen products, which I when I was a kid, I just wanted to be a businesswoman. So I'm just doing side by side that.
Oh, that's amazing. Maybe one of these days you have to take us through how we can also build our own e-commerce. Start making
Okay.
to have it. So what role these short courses and both properly structured courses and other courses you take along the side, what role did it play in repositioning you to where you currently are?
Okay. So uh, I would say that when I moved to a different country, in a new country, the first thing I quickly understood was having a degree alone wasn't enough. Especially in such a regulated field like ours, medical laboratory sciences, we know every country has its own licensing system, standards, expectations. So instead of just feeling stuck, approach it strategically. Just I just made the list. I made the steps of everything I need, like credential recognition, as mentioned earlier by one of my panelists. You recognize your credential through WES, required certifications, skill gaps, practical exposures, and everything. I just made the list of it, and then I just the one main thing I focused was the process is long, and I don't want to make the gap. I just want to fill it. So I just continued learning. So it's central to my journey. So when you transition across countries, you have to constantly update yourself, not just academically but professionally. Like so taking a certification in short courses means staying aligned with the international standard, understanding new technologies, lab practices, and most importantly, strengthening my credibility in different systems. So learning is not optional in our field. It's just continuous, it's ongoing. So what I believe is degree opens the door, but continuous learning keeps you in the room. So it has allowed me to be more competitive, confident, and prepared for the few for the fee and for the yeah I am excited as well, and prepare for the opportunities across different countries, which is my long term goal.
Oh, thank you so much, Shemi, for sharing that. That's very very flexible. That's amazing for me because having to the part you mentioned, having to evaluate and continuously learn, it's very very key, and to also consider the professional learning and also the credibility part. Credibility part is actually very important. You want to make yourself credible, and that speaks volume, right? Degrees opens the door, but continuously keeps you in. That's true. That's true. Because when you don't learn continuously, you be kicked out of where the degree actually placed you. It's very important. So one question I want to ask you will be, what mindset or what would you want those on the call now, especially for young professionals and those that are still in school? What action step would you want them to take in the next 48 hours that will be pivotal for them in terms of career building and intentional progression in life?
I would say that keep updating and upgrading yourself. Your degree, I would say your degree is the foundation. It's not the final version of your career. You need to make the final version of your career. You want to grow, and you want to do everything just by upgrading, updating, linking to the professionals on LinkedIn. They are very great professionals, very competitive, and you learn so much on LinkedIn, and I have learned as well. So I just want to share my story so you guys may also follow if you like. So when I graduated, I knew nothing about the field. So I was so stuck. But then I got a job offer. I started the job. I started learning more. And then I one day I just looked on LinkedIn. I saw many professionals are there. I started liking their post and reading everything. Oh, that's so cool information they're sharing. And then I was like, one day I'll share also. So all this time when I'm applying for my license and I'm waiting for that, I started doing the same. I said, why? I'm learning because it's a gap. I'm learning every little thing from start. Then why not share with my community for the new young professional to learn with me and to refresh all the concepts which we learned in the first year of our career, or graduate, all the year of our studies in the first year, second year, building the foundation. So I just did that, and it has helped me a lot. I am learning again, and everyone is learning with me. It's so great.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. I know I do follow the work you normally put out there on LinkedIn. And for everyone, young professional here, and also on the graduate industry in school, it's good we start making use of our LinkedIn, right? And I'm very sure that everyone that was on the call yesterday on the webinar yesterday have already taken some key steps to getting your LinkedIn optimized. Right, we'll definitely follow through with that, because that's the reason for this community. We're looking at optimizing, helping everyone optimize their LinkedIn account and also get the learning going. It's very important. Thank you for sharing that, Sherman, and for all the insight you shared. You've given to us all this morning, for some that are in the morning region, and afternoon for those in the afternoon, and also evening for those of us that are in the evening client. Thank you so much. And we'll still want you on the call while we get to the next panelist, because we still have some questions that might be coming in the chat box. So thank you. So let's have a virtual appreciation and round of applause to all our panelists, from Charmaine, right, to Mr. Idris, everyone that has come. So we still have, like I said, our panel session for this session is packed. If we had had three, that would have been a lot of time for each person to share. Right, but in subsequent, I will see how we could manage that as well. So we have also Victor Ihanacho, not Ihanacho the footballer, but he plays football. He plays good football. Just so you know, we have Victor Ihanacho with us this evening and afternoon. All right, Victor, could you confirm you can hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you, Samuel. Good evening.
Awesome, great to have you. And you're welcome on phone. So everyone of us, are we all enjoying ourselves? Are we having great value for our time? Let me just get a reaction to be sure. Let me get a reaction. Let me know if I'm ending this call right away. Because I need to be sure everyone is getting value for the time. So it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for that, and they said, yeah, we have it. Absolutely, Miss Stola. Absolutely. Awesome. Okay, I'm not ending the call right now. Okay, so Victor, it's great to have you, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for your willingness to come on board and share with us your journey and experience. That for me is remarkable. So could we meet you, Mr. Victor?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Where I am is in the evening. My name is Victor Ihanacho. I have to thank Samuel first, and Michael and the rest of the organizers for this. I mean, this is a really good one. So my name is Victor Ihanacho. I finished from University of Benin. I've worked in I'm a medical laboratory scientist. Worked in some of the labs in Nigeria, but I'm currently working in Tipari University Hospital. It's a multidisciplinary hospital for hematology, biochemistry, and blood transfusion. And it's just been a good experience. And I think most of all, I'm going to be responding to this night. I will try and make it as practicable as possible. Just tell you what I went through. So that's it.
Awesome. Good to meet you, Mr. Victor Ihanacho. So having to move from Nigeria, in the global eyes see Nigeria as there's a lens, the kind of lens normally see us with, right? Having to move from where Nigeria to Ireland, how was the experience for you? So how do you navigate the path? Was it something you were thinking of while in school? Was it preconceived, or it happened to you all of a sudden? Because we have those that are still in school and young professionals who try to navigate the path. Or was it something that just came upon you? You just thought it's good to move out. Let me start packing my bags. So how was it for you?
So I have to be quite frank with you. While in school, there is no way I does that as a med lab scientist. I'll probably be able to leave Nigeria and practice somewhere else. I never thought about that. I just wanted to finish school, get a job. But during NYSC, I met a friend who she finished with a first class from Nnamdi Azikiwe University, and she was offered a job, but she turned it down because she wanted to go to Canada and practice. That was when my mind changed. Just for her, she told me that, and I'm like, wait, we studied the same thing. Do you think this is possible? She said yes. And this colleague I'm telling you has chased Canada from Canada. She has gotten HCPC. After some years of not getting job with HCPC, she finally wrote Australian exam and she just got the visa. So being my friend and seeing the drive just motivated me. And along the line, I think I was going towards HCPC. Then I met Shedrack. Some persons who finished from Unibem, I know Shedrack. Shedrack got his license from Koru, and that was where I had to shift from HCPC to Koru. But I just had a mindset shift from meeting that lady at NYC, and I just knew that okay, if she can do this, then I can do it. So that's where the push, that's where the drive came from.
Okay, that's awesome, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So I would also want to ask a follow-up question. So at what point did you begin to reinvent yourself, right? And having to also position yourself for what you are expecting to see in a different climate entirely. At what point did you begin to reposition yourself?
Okay, during COVID in 2020, I don't know if anyone can remember, there was one time that they said that the reason why there's not so much diagnosis for COVID in Nigeria is because Nigeria has just 3 molecular scientists. It was actually not true, but they said that on TV, I think a government official or so. And that's really sparked something in me, like why if we have to be frank with ourselves, if you say Nigeria has just 10 medical laboratory scientists, we know that's not true. But at that point, molecular scientist wasn't, we have the theoretical knowledge. By the time we finish school, we go straight to working in the lab, and then but there feels like this molecular diagnosis, it's just some specific persons who just have the drive to go there. And that was where I knew that okay, people came to debunk and say it's not true, but that was where I knew okay, I have to do something about it. And luckily at the same time, there was a training going on for molecular diagnosis hands-on, and COVID was the field we were looking at. I registered for it. I did the training in December 2020, and by January, no, by February, I had like 3 facilities who were looking for COVID scientists, and they were asking me which one would you pick. I saw how there was a quick shift from doing a training 2 months ago, and now the training has just pushed me to a completely different level, including financially and career-wise and professionally, and I'm in a new field. So saying that, it wasn't difficult for me to think when Shedrack came with Koru and what I have heard from Chidima, who is my friend in the NYSC, I knew that, okay, if I could move from 2 months ago to this point, then I think I should just go ahead with Koru. In most cases that I've noticed with this, what people complain about, they used to say is finance. Ah, don't worry, I will pay for the cost later. Don't worry, I will do that later. I need to see if you don't spend that money now, you won't be able to spend it again. You need to spend that money and pay for that hands-on training. And when we come out from school, we have this knowledge, this theoretical knowledge, but we just want to do the same thing, work in one lab. And I don't know, people just find it difficult to navigate intentionally in their career. And that's the problem. If you can be intentional and consistent in navigating your career, it's really going to help you to be in control. You know where you want to be. And it just sometimes you're taking the risk now, but you don't know what the results will be. But you already know that this risk I'm taking is going to give you good results. So that's where the change came from, and that's where the drive moved from.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. I remember COVID 2021 was quite an interesting time, right? So it was interesting, especially for those that are in this climate, as they would call us, those in the sub-Saharan African. It was quite impressive to know that during those moments, because those were challenging moments where persons were contemplating how we're going to do for the next day, how surviving the next day. But then you took out that time to learn and upskill at the same time.
Yeah, and it was very, very, even while I was working in COVID, there were facilities still calling you and saying that we're willing to double what you're earning. Just come. And then there are still medical scientists who are saying that I don't have money to go for the hands-on training. Not like they don't have, but the complaints will not help you. You just stay where you are while other persons are moving. So that's just what I think. People just need to come out of that comfort zone.
Very, very important. Come out of your comfort zone. Complaint will not serve you dinner. That's important. The complaints will not help. And I love the part you mentioned that those you were able to connect with, like friends and all, provided you with vital information. That goes to speak to the fact that our circle also have a way, circle of friends or environment has a way of framing our mind or giving us a perception to things. So what would we say about that, about our connections and those that we have around us most of the time as individuals?
Yeah, that's true. Because most times when you finish from school, you don't get some of this enlightenment. You only get it from those that have experienced it. Just like just I think one of the speaker was saying something like that. You don't learn some of these things from school. You learn it from those who have experienced it. Just like we're in this webinar now, those who have traveled, those who have gotten upskilled, those who have gotten some professional courses, they're telling you that this is how to do it. But you probably might not, what you probably learn in school is the theory of, from, I'm talking from this field of medical lab science, for medical lab scientists, you learn the theory of blood group and cross match. But when you come out, how to take control of this career and say, okay, this is where I want to be in the next 5 years. You only learn that from those who have done that. So that's why you just have to find yourself in places like this and find mentors, people who have gone. That's how I think this works.
Well, thank you so much, Victor, for sharing with us its facts. I hope that everyone is taking notes, and I'm also seeing that we're all making notes in the comment section. Thank you so much for that. Let's appreciate our panelists. It's been quite an insightful full one for me sitting here on this side. I know about you, Jones. eBay, your hand is up. I also do want to confirm if we have Aret. Aret, are we back with the network? Is the network pretty much stable now? Please do confirm.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Aret. Yeah, can we meet you, Aret, please?
Good evening, everyone. Sorry about the whole network thing. First off, before I introduce myself, I want to say thank you to Mr. Samuel and Odera for this wonderful opportunity. It's one thing to know what you know, and it's another thing to share what you know with others who are willing to learn. And to everyone who has stayed up until this time, in fact, you give a round of applause to each and everyone, to yourselves, because it's not easy. So, my name is Harriet Ushune Akiohai. I graduated from Abus Ali University. I started my career as a medical laboratory scientist, working in diagnostics and patient care. But along the way, I'm a very curious person. Along the way, I met people whose journey fascinated me, and by having conversations with them, health information, health content creation was birthed. So I became increasingly curious in two things. One, how health communication was communicated, because for a medical practitioner, it is very easy to think that what you read or what you hear about, when you hear people's story, it cannot happen to you till you are in the middle of those things happening to you. And secondly, I became curious on how professionals can grow more intentionally within their careers. That curiosity led me to, start sharing my journey. I started sharing my journey on WhatsApp status before I eventually grew to start showing up on LinkedIn, where I talked about health, career growth, and professional development. As I kept showing up and building my voice, I began to see the power of visibility, especially on LinkedIn. So I didn't just use it as an avenue to post, I use it strategically to share my journey. If you've been following me from the beginning, you will know that I started sharing health content creation, health content before I gradually grew to the point where I realized that, you know what, I think I want to start intentionally building my personal brand. So I think as we go on as you continue asking me questions, I'm going to respond to the questions.
Oh, thank you for that powerful short intro. All right, so I would want to ask, how did it start out for you, right, in your early profession? How did you
Okay,
start with navigation? Yes.
okay, so I would say in my journey, one thing that has helped me is curiosity. I have always been curious. Okay, if the sky is blue, why is the sky blue? I knew that there was a point I got to in working on the bench that I realized that there has to be more, right? There has to be more than just um, coming to work. There has to be more than just. And one major thing that made me start creating health content was my own personal experience. I was misdiagnosed twice of two really serious illness, and I realized that if me, a health professional, can be misdiagnosed, now imagine someone who has no idea about health, the health space, how they are going through. So that was how I started creating health content. I started writing health content. So along the way, I started showing up on LinkedIn, and gradually, I started creating content on health surrounding. I started showing up and creating just health content. But along the way, I had conversations with colleagues, and the more I shared content about my journey as a med lab scientist, the more interest I got from my audience. I had DMs from med lab science students, I got DMs from young professionals telling me how the content I was sharing was helping them in their own journey. And that was how I started doing both, sharing both health content and sharing my journey. Now, being yes, I've left the bench. I'm now in commercials, but I think that one key thing that contributes to me excelling in my current role is the technical expertise that the lab gave to me, right? So writing content and health communication is more or less like an extension of my training. And even what makes me become a better professional where I am is because of the lab. Everything I have to better arm me to be a better commercial executive, to understand my patients, to understand my clients, all stemmed up from the lab. So what has helped me maintain credibility was staying grounded in my core, which is the lab, practicing, learning, building competence. I'm not just being a commercial exec. I'm translating that knowledge in a way that is accessible and impactful. And to me, I feel like that combination actually strengthened my professional identity
Oh,
as a
that's
medical scientist.
awesome. Awesome. That's great. Great share. I want to ask a follow-up question to that. Now, you're the founder of the Diary of Scientists, right?
A Niger scientist.
Yeah, what actually inspired that? What actually inspired that concept and that vision? And what was the drive that kept you going amidst the busyness of being I understand how it would be being a medical lab scientist, and at the same time you're also trying to keep up with the vision that you have, right? That maybe nobody even shared with you, nobody had the same energy or zeal to carry that out with you, but then you kept going at it. What actually inspired the Diary of a Scientist?
Okay, so Diary of a Niger Scientist, when I wanted to start creating content, then I really didn't when I wanted to pick a name, I was like, okay, what name was I going to pick? It was really confusing and picking a name. Then I think I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, a scientist too, and she was like, what about Diary of a Scientist? I said, nah, that's too basic. What is Diary of a Scientist? Scientist could be industrial scientist, it could be any scientist. So I was like, okay, what about Diary of the Niger Scientist? And that was how Diary of the Niger Scientist was birthed. Now, Diary of the Niger Scientist is basically me sharing my journey, because when I started in my career, I really didn't have people to look up to. And one thing that inspired me to start sharing my journey through Diary of the Niger Scientist was trying to create a community where MedLab, upcoming MedLab sciences students can see that there is more beyond what we were taught in school. Honestly, when I was in school, my lecturers would tell me, lecturers then would tell you, if it is not the lab, forget it. If you do not excel in the lab, there is nothing out there aside the lab. So along the line, I started meeting senior colleagues who were out of the lab and who were excelling, but didn't have a social media presence. Now, like I said, it's one thing to know something, it's another thing to share what you know. And that is one thing that I would say is the driving force, that I started out not having a mentor. I don't want others to start out not having a mentor. I want people to see that whatever dreams that they have, whatever aspirations that they have as a scientist, it is actually possible because they have somebody who is showing them that it is possible. So if there's one key thing that drives Diary of a Niger Scientist, is the DMs I get, is the conversations I have with people that tells me that, okay, Harriet, no matter your busy schedule, no matter how crazy life is getting, you have to show up. Even if it is just one person that your story inspires, you have to show up for it. Because I think along the way I have gotten to a point where I have seen how much having a mentor can influence your journey. A mentor can compress your a mentor can compress 5 years into 1 year. Having a good mentor can do all of that. So showing up for one person and being an inspiration for one person, if it's only one person that my journey inspires, that is enough drive for me.
Oh, that's a great share. Thank you so much for sharing that. I don't know if as many of us that have questions, we can keep the question coming now in the chat box so that we can also pick your questions because there's been a lot of inside which like I said, I was speaking with my team earlier and I was telling them, okay, the panel session that we'll be having in our first edition, it's like we had panelists full to the max capacity. In the subsequent time, we'll know how to regulate it so that we can get a whole lot from our panelists because there's still a whole lot that's left unsaid. But then I want to ask, how did you build your professional network intentionally? So speaking to students as well as young professionals, addressing both demography, how can one build an intentional professional network?
Okay, first off, there is this I think there is this misconception that when people hear networking, the first thing that comes to their mind is collecting numbers, having people's numbers. But networking is so much more than having a contact list. When you're meeting somebody for the first time, right? The question you should ask yourself should not be, what can this person do for me? It should be, what can I genuinely offer this person? Because networking works both ways. It's like a handshake. I give you, you give me. That is how networking works. But we have this ideology that, oh, because because this person is far above me, I have nothing to give. And that's a lie. You have something to give. You just need to understand what you have to give that person. So networking is about value and consistency and not just connection. When for me, I approach networking as relationship building. And funny enough, most of the people I have gone to have in my corner or have in my community are people who I met online on LinkedIn. So if you're a professional here, let me start with this. If you're a professional here who isn't intentional about building their brand on LinkedIn, you're missing out on so much. Because even somebody as simple as a medical lab science student can offer me that has left the bench so much value. So networking doesn't is not just about who is above me and what they can give to me. It's about what I can genuinely give to them because I've come to understand that people that are above us have a lot of people that are looking to tap from them. So what makes you stand apart is looking for what you can give to them. When they see someone who is genuinely interested in offering something to them, trust me, you will have them in, yeah, you will have them in your corner for life. So networking is more than just contact collecting. It is relationship building. You have to be intentional about getting to know these people. It's not just, oh, you know Harriet. Oh, Harriet is content creator. But aside being a content creator, who is Harriet? Do you know Harriet outside what you see on LinkedIn? You cannot say you want to network with let's say your students who is looking to network with someone above you, and you're just looking to come in to collect, collect, collect. It doesn't work that way. You should be coming with the intention of building a relationship, because it is a relationship you build that will open doors for you within that your network. Then for me, it is also about consistency and value. Engaging with people's work, contributing meaningfully to conversations, and showing up over time. For example, you cannot say that, okay, oh, I love what Mr. Samuel is doing. I love that he's showing up. I want to be in his network. I want to be in his community. Mr. Samuel will consistently post content 1 week straight, and you would never engage. See, we need to understand that everything in this life is transactional. We need to understand that, because when you understand that certain things are transactional, and when I mean transactional, it's not monetary. Sometimes it is you appreciating, and another way you can appreciate your network is by appreciating a connection you have, is by engaging in their posts, is by sparking a conversation with them. It mustn't always be about what you can get from them, right? A lot of my opportunities didn't come from one-off conversations, one-off interactions. It came from people who have seen me consistently, how I think, how I communicate, and what I stand for. And let me give an example, a typical example. When I started out, I realized that women in most female medical laboratory sciences were not visible on social media, and they were doing the work, right? But when it comes to showing up on social media, they were not so vocal about it, right? So I took it, like, I started researching female medical laboratory scientists that had the result I wanted, and I found one. In fact, it was one of my friends that connected me with her. What I did was I actively, in fact, I studied her and realized that I needed this person to be in my network. I needed to connect with this person. Normally, naturally, what I would have done was go into a DM and introduce myself, but I knew that that will not create a lasting relationship with her. So what I started doing was I started engaging with her post. And in fact, I turned on and her post notifications. I was always the first to engage on her. Leave meaningful conversations, like conversations, comments that will spark her to notice me. You need to realize that you need them to notice you. If you want a relationship that lasts, they need to notice you. They need to see the value you are bringing, and they need to realize that they need you in their network. Then along the line, I think after engaging with her, like I think about 6 months, I finally got an opportunity to send her a DM. And this was the response I got when I sent her the DM. She was like, Harriet, I have been waiting for your message. That's to tell you that over time, she has been saying that I have been engaging. That is somebody that has come to understand, okay, this person actually appreciates what I do. So when you are building, when you're networking with people, be genuinely interested in what they are doing. Be genuinely interested in what they offer. That is the only way you would have a long-lasting relationship with these people, right? So instead of asking yourself, who do I need to know? Focus on how do I show up in a way that make people want to know me and work with me. And that changes everything. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for unpacking a whole lot. This is a master class. I must say, for all the panels that we have, we have just for very limited time. But I don't know. I hope that in the subsequent time we'll still have a session, a one-on-one session with each of our panelists, right? Maybe for the community, so that they can come on board and and give us a whole lot that they have for us. If you want us to do that, could you give us some reaction? Could you give us some reaction? Let's know if we have to go and pay some flight tickets right, to have them on board, because there's quite a lot that they have to share. That 2 hours that we have cannot contain it. Right? You can't compress the experience that someone has, journey of a person, right, in just 2 minutes. I'll have 6 panelists. It's a whole lot, right? From Josephine that started with us, then so Idris, right, that's now took it to the next level. Then going to it's a lot, and we can't compress that into hours. That's quite a lot. But then the little nugget they've shared with us in this panel session, I suppose are we getting some value for time? Are we getting some value for time? Can I get some response? Please, could you use the chat box? Let's know that we're getting value for time. Are we getting value for time? Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. It's been packed session. And I also want to ask, ideally we're to end this by 9:30, but then do we end this call now? Right? Because I would have loved for Odera to come on board to share. Do we end this call now, or can we spare 15 minutes? Do we have 15 minutes for an extra call? Ella said, let's keep going. Yes, we have. Eddie Uche now. No, don't end it. You see, that's amazing. So it's part because our panelists actually they came ready. They came ready to share. They came ready to share with us. And it's been quite an insightful session for us all. Now, interestingly, just so we know, we have this, we have it recorded to be shared in the community. Right? I'll have to ask Karen just one question, please. Just one question that I'll call on Odera. If you have questions, please bring up your question in the chat. But I know they are also addressing some key questions that we might have in our hearts already. And they are addressing because they are sharing. It's one thing to have an experience, to go through your journey and also be willing to share your journey, right? Because when a person shares his journey, you could easily relate. Some light bulb moments just could be coming at different points in time for you. It is not like those that will just be somewhere and they can't even tell you how they got there. It becomes challenging. So you can't relate the person's journey to what the person is telling or what you see, where you're seeing the person. But then these are persons sharing their journey and their experience as well. Thank you so much for sharing with us that. I have one question I want to ask, and please just indulge me before I call on Odera to come share with us. Now we have a lot of persons that will be now again and says, let's keep going. Interestingly, today is Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday. I have a question that I would need you to speak to from your experience, Paris. There are some persons that are on this call now that might be saying, oh, the way he's saying you can go on LinkedIn and be consistent. Yeah, I don't know how to write shower as we normally say in a Nigerian climate. I'm not that kind of person. I think that's the word. I'm not that kind of person now. I cannot, man. I mean, I'm an introvert. I cannot, I cannot do some things. I don't know how to be in front of a camera. I don't even know what to write. How would you speak to that? How would you want to address this key? Because these are key things. We're talking about practical things that we need people to action on in the next 24 to 48 hours so that they can get that mental shift. For those that are saying, okay, I don't know how to even do content. So this is what she's saying now. She's saying now, oh no, because I'm not that kind of person. How can they employ communities such as this? And how can they get to employ? There's a lot of tools present. So could you just speak to that for us in a few minutes, please?
Okay, so first off, I want to say this. Have it at the back of your mind that if people didn't come out to write the Bible or the Quran, we wouldn't know the story of the great men and women in the Bible, right? So it's okay to be an introvert. It is okay to be an introvert, but your story, what I've come to understand is that we also have, I don't know who, for the Christians or the Muslims on the call, we all have a supreme being, right? And for me, there is this thing that always that guides me. He's extraordinary. God did not put you on this earth to be mediocre. He didn't put you to be ordinary. He gave you a purpose, and that purpose would be to, like my pastor would say, sometimes when people hear ministry, they think it's church. But you can be spreading the gospel in your own way by sharing your story. The best story ever told are stories that are shared by you. Now, if you're saying, okay, in fact, after this call, I have decided that I want to be intentional. The first thing you should ask yourself is, why do you want to show up? There are different reasons for showing up. Some, it could be, I want to make money, I want to increase my streams of income, I want to create impact, I want to be visible, and all of that. You need to know your why. When you're able to know your why, that will guide you in the next step you want to take. And I know very often we hear people say, niche down, niche down, niche down. When I started, I didn't have a niche. Like, I know I started with health, but over the years, you would see that I made myself see the simplest way to show up is not putting yourself in a box. Explore, because you will not know what part of you get to discover if you do not explore the different parts. You know this, talk about it, share it. When you share it, it is when people comment, when people send you DMs, that will now give you a step in the right direction. Okay, I see that people, like, when I started sharing health content, I noticed that when I share about something concerning medical science or medical professionals, people engage more, people send me DMs more. That was when I started diverting my attention to speaking about my journey. So first, you need to know why you want to show up. Secondly, you need to know how you want to show up. Pick a platform. Okay, I am good in writing. LinkedIn, you have LinkedIn, you have Twitter, right? I'm good in writing. Or okay, I'm not good in writing, but I am good in graphics, right? You can do carousels. That's why we have carousels. You can say, okay, I'm not good with carousels. I want to, but I'm good with video editing, combining B-rolls and all. Thank God for AI. You can literally post a faceless content. Nobody, you never have to show your face, and it will still tell your story. So you need to, when you discover your why, discover how you want to show up. But the thing is, you need to try all the forms to know what works well for you. I am a preacher of exploring. Explore before you find a place that is truly your calling. Because if you do not explore, you're going to keep yourself in a box, right? Thirdly, you have AI. Utilize AI. Make use of, you have ChatGPT, you have Claude AI. Now you can go on ChatGPT and say, okay, I'm a medical laboratory science student, and I want to start intentionally building my personal brand on LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok or Twitter. And this is what I know. This is what I know. This is what I know. What kind of content do you think I should post? See, AI will do that for you. The more prompts you feed AI, the more clarity you get. Before, before getting clarity used to be this whole journey where you had to like spend months and years trying to figure out what you're good at. Now you can figure out, you can get clarity in a matter of minutes. All you need to do is feed the AI the prompts, give it what, feed it all the information you need. Okay, this is what people usually come to meet me for. Okay, people usually come and meet me for business, or they come and meet me for this course or something. Feed all of it. It will give you a strategy. Then when you do that, when you've been able to pick a platform, okay, I want to start showing up on LinkedIn. Before you start, go and do your research. Now you have people that share their journey online. Do your research. Look at people that are in the space of what you want to start talking about. Trust me, what you want to talk about, people have been talking about it. The difference is your journey is your journey. Your journey is different from the next person. Look for people in that space that have been on this journey. Study how they show up. Study which of their content type actually moves. When you do that, then you have all the information you need. Then you start. It is when you start showing up, your journey becomes clearer. You start knowing what works for you, what you need to live, and along the way, you discover yourself.
Thank
When
you
I
so
started,
much.
sorry to round up, when I started, right? When I started, I didn't know how I would be here, right? But you have to stop managing your career. You have to stop managing your journey and you have to start designing it. Because intention is a daily practice, it's not a one-time decision. And the more you show up, the more the clearer your journey becomes. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Can we just give the virtual round of applause? It's been an amazing one thus far. You just have your press for time, really. Your press for time, girl. By tomorrow, you can't miss tomorrow. We'll be having gifts for the Kemi tomorrow. She's gonna be unpacking a little things about LinkedIn for us. You don't have to miss tomorrow for any reason. Invite your friends, invite everyone. And also be having Miss Stotler, right? She's an innovator. She'll be on grant tomorrow. She'll be taking us by tomorrow. And for these two sessions, you won't want to miss it. You won't want to miss. Just like I said, maybe we'll have to schedule a time for a master class for each of the panelists we have, so that they can have we can see we have all the time to share. But then to unpack some things, I already said there are a lot of things I want to share with us, but then we are pressed for time. You're pressed for time. Thank you so much, Aldres. Please,
Samuel, please, sorry, 1 minute, 1 minute, sorry, permit me.
Yes, please. I can hear you.
Okay, so it is one thing. Just before I go, I just had this thought. So it is one thing to show up for events such as this. Is another thing to take practical steps towards it. So I run services where I support professionals with LinkedIn optimization and helping them translate their experiences into opportunities. So if you are here and you would like to explore how to start building your personal brand on LinkedIn, feel free to send me a DM on LinkedIn, or you can reach out to Mr. Samuel to share your contacts. When you are sending me a message, please be specific where you got my contacts from and what you want. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, Harris. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. Let's go. We have the virtual applause coming in. Let's have very briefly. Let's have Odera come speak up very briefly. We'll keep the time to 10 minutes so that we can end it. We've had an amazing time, no doubt. But then we can't. If we want to keep extending, we might be here till 11 p.m. Right, guys? It might be here till 12 a.m. But then we will make sure that we have other session after this webinar, after the 3-year series, that will have a key panelist come on board and unpack some things for us. So it should just be a webinar just for key panelists, for all the panelists maybe coming in one at a time. Okay. Okay. Someone is asking for the LinkedIn name. Please, someone could just respond to that in the chat, right? So that we can get lots more, right? Because there's quite a lot, but then the time is short. So can we quickly have Odera, the co-founder, come on board to share with us in 10 minutes? I think we should be out of here in the next 11 minutes so that we can go and start actioning on some key things. Yeah, someone has responded to that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mary Cynthia. So, Odera, are you on the call, please? Yes, I've been looking
hello
at
everyone.
Yes, please. You can proceed, please.
Sorry, I'm just testing if my network is actually. Yeah, is my network fine? Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Hello.
I can hear you clearly. You can go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Odera. So, Odera, if you can hear me, I can actually hear you clearly. I think Odera is having a bit of a network challenge. Or tonight connected clarity, growth, and